So, judging by that thumbnail, we've finished. But we're also late getting the video out, so you better tune in and see what happened and see a finished article. See in a second. So, you've seen by the photo, we've got one finished. We're actually going to have to finish another one now. So, let me give you a little bit of background before I get into it. So, I've been very pushed for time, really pushed for time. And, as you know, or some of you will be aware, I normally put my video out at 5 o'clock every other Wednesday. And I missed it completely. I rushed to get one done. Finished, done, so you could see what I was talking about, and then I had problems uploading, which went through twice on Wednesday night, and then twice yesterday, once before I had to go out, once when I came back home, and it kept throwing it back, and I thought, I need to look at this video. So I did. When I opened up Power Director the day I was editing, it wanted an upload. Not a surprise, it uploads every 3 minutes. So we did the upload, shut it down, restarted, but every time I was in the middle of doing something, it would glitch. But it appeared to be okay. When I re-watched it last night, the glitches were very transparent. We had black screens with no sound, we had video without sound, we had black screens with sound. It was a mess, hence why this is late. So the other thing is, there were certain things I did in that video that I'm now going to have to redo. So to you, you're seeing it for the first time. For me, it's the second time. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of a walkthrough in case someone's watching this that didn't watch part 1. And if you didn't, you could always go back and have a watch of that. Thank you. But I'm going to take people through it, explain where we got to after the last vid, and then we are going to put some transfers on that are homemade, and then we will have to let that dry. But because I have a finished model, I can show you the one that I did get finished that has been weathered. So at least you will see what we ended up with. Now we still have, after this, 11 to go at, but in between trying to upload to YouTube, I've been getting the others further forward. So all the rest of them now behind me are all glossed up, waiting for transfers to go on. Once the transfers are on and dried, which I'm hoping to get the transfers on later today, then tomorrow I can matte varnish, chuck some weathering powders on them, and then another light coat of matte varnish, because if you get too close you'll blow it away. Anyway, stop rabbiting on, Paul. Get on with it. We're going to get started with the recap of what we have done. Okay, so when you saw these properly last, they were just the grey wagon as it appeared. So what have we done? We basically started taking things off. We took the wheels off, we took the crappy decouplings off, we took away the mechanism that would open the doors if you had the right piece on your track. I didn't need that facility. And then we started adding. So we've boxed the bottom in, we fitted some magnetic couplings. These are the Hornby Buckeye style. Yes, they are the wrong way round if you are noticing. But what I worked out was that the slot in here that would originally have held the hook was just wide enough to get a Buckeye in it. So we've done that. We drilled through both sides, bigger than what the rivet was, to get plenty of glue in to hold it, and that fits perfectly. So that was second edition. Next edition, these things are Triang Transcontinental, so therefore don't come with buffers. So we drilled out the buffer beams and we installed these buffers here. They're a new one to me from an eBay seller, and he does round, square, not round, rectangle and oval, and you can get them in short sets or long sets. So because I want these to be reasonably close coupled and make it round if I had to, a second radius, I went with the short. So we put them on. Then we put these blank pieces of card down the sides here on both ends to look more realistic. But on the originals and on the Hattons ones, they had these as well. And I said I wasn't going to do it. So I stuck this brake reservoir on and said, that's it. I'm happy with it as it is. And we put weights inside here and then a false bottom which sits on the weights to carry the load. But with them sitting on my desk when I was working, I kept looking and thinking, you know what, I am going to put them on. So, was it an easy job? Ish. I have one of them red chopper blade things where you can set angles or you can do continuous cuts at the same length. Brilliant bit of kit, but bloody expensive. So we cut a load of these all at the same length. We chopped 45s on each end, so they were opposing like that. Works out perfectly on the bottom, sticks out a bit on the top, but once this glue had dried, we just snipped it and then filed it flat. So I didn't want any of it coming over the top of the box. So we got them stuck on, and then I decided that I was going to go for the pipe edition, which you can see in white. So we got some white metal upright vacuum pipes. Never worked with white metal before. Didn't want to try and solder them because I didn't think it would work. I didn't drop the hook over part under the body because the bogies would catch on it. So we bent it earlier, drilled a hole in the buffer beam. Now it is at a weird angle. It's at a weird angle because I had to get it pointing that way to be able to connect to this airline, vacuum, whichever. This metal rod is 1mm, which in real life is 3 inches, and I don't think the pipe was that big, but I wanted it to be able to be reasonably noticeable. So we had to drill a hole in that plate and that one, feeding in this end a piece of cake. Trying to manipulate it through that end was a pain in the backside, but it worked. And then we had to figure out how were we going to connect the pipe to the vac, because it actually fits on the vac pipe in real life. After trying various things, I just used super glue. Now I was going to paint the vac pipes white and then the pipes white, but because it's kind of an ugly joint here, I decided to paint it black, just slightly past the joint to hide it, and then drop the pipe in white. Complete artistic license, that pipe. I know it is, but it's just what I wanted to do. So we have got all 13 of these to this stage, and then I began to think about transfers. So I printed my own transfer sheet. So I've got the ICI logo for here. I've got the what do you want to call it? It's like the information palette says PHV 48 ton and its running number. Then I decided that I wanted to duplicate just the running number on the chassis. So I painted these white pieces here. And I didn't want them perfectly white because I thought in the real world they wouldn't be. And seeing the one I've already done might have worked against me because I've had to clean up a little bit to try and get the letters, but I'm happy. So that's varnished, that panel there, and that on both sides. So we're now ready to varnish. Now the one thing I did on the other wagon that I said was finished was that I just chose a random data panel to go here, and I put it on and it's so small it's ridiculous. So I'm going to use one of these from Fox Transfers. So there's nothing really on it, but then again, it's just for the illusion of making it look like it's there. I'm guessing it's one of them where they could have wrote in chalk what was on it, but it's the size I'm interested in. So Fox Transfers for that, Fox Transfers for the electric flashes, and then after that it's these are the ones going at the back end, and then we've got the ICI logo, and then somewhere here I think, yeah, here I've got a bunch of the running numbers duplicated. So I'm going to badge this one up so you can just get a quick idea of what I was doing, why I'm doing it, or whatever. So this is going to get chopped and changed around a bit while I'm doing this, because I'm not going to take you through the entire boring experience of it. The point is just to show you what it looks like with the transfers on. So nice fresh clean blade to do some cutting. Now the only mistake I've made, I forgot to varnish that section there. I'm not doing it now. I'm already behind with this video as it is, and I don't want to get any further behind. So I'm just going to put them on and hope that if the background shows up, the weathering might knock it back, but ordinarily I would have gloss varnished it as I have the rest of the stuff. It just generally helps the background to blend in better, and it doesn't look as obvious, if you get what I mean. So we've cut them out as close as I dare. I've left one end with a little bit more paper on, just to give me something to get hold of, and they're going into a plate of water. Now I can cut these as well, because these are quite big and they need a little time to dissolve. But if you've never done your own transfers, it's literally the same as writing a Word document. There's nothing to it. Obviously you need water slide paper, which is available on Amazon, or at least that's where I got mine. Print it out as you would. Always do yourself some spares, always, because you guarantee if you do the exact number, you will end up making a mistake with one of them, and you don't want to have to print another sheet out for what could be one piece. So I always add on, well, let me give you an example. With these little running numbers that are going on there, I've done 3 for each wagon. So I've got one spare, so I can cock it up once, but if I don't, then I'm buggered, I'm having to do it again. But one should be sufficient for me to make a mistake. So let's see if these are, no, not yet, not ready to float. The other thing is, once you've printed out your own thingies, let the ink dry, and I mean like overnight ideally, and then a nice couple of coats of varnish. That is literally there to seal in the ink, otherwise you'll put your transfers in the water and you'll watch the ink just disperse. And then when you've varnished it, again, let it sit for 24 hours before you start dunking it in water, because otherwise you'll have the same problem. But the only downside so far that I have is I cannot print white. Apparently you need a very special machine of that, which is hugely expensive. So because of that, I have chosen that we'll just get white ones from Fox Transfers, or I can't remember the other one I use from time to time. I generally go straight to Fox. But yeah, right, I'm going to stop here while I get some of these transfers on, and then we're going to come back. So, I've done my transfers. You've all seen people doing transfers, so I ain't going to bore you. But there we are. So, we've got our electric hazard warning flashes, top corners, the ICI logo in the centre. We've got the informational panel here, PHV, tells you the tonnage, running number there, duplicated, and we've done the other side. So, if you've never done transfers before, it is relatively easy. First thing I could suggest is keep an eye on what you've got in the water, because if you leave it there too long, you'll suddenly notice a transfer floating across the water without its backing plate being attached. Not the end of the world, but much easier if the backing plate is still on it. The other thing is, when you're putting the transfer on, don't get yourself into a tizzy. If it wrinkles or it goes upside down, just put a bit of water in there, nice pair of fine tweezers, and just manipulate it. You will get what you want. And if it really does go wrong, like I said, you've always got spares. Even when I'm ordering from Fox Transfer for a particular project, I've just done it recently for another project I'm going to start, and I needed a certain amount of letters, and I did some adding up and worked out how many letters I had and realised I could get it out of one sheet, but I had no spares of one letter, so I ordered a second sheet as a backup to provide me additional. Probably a little over the top, but it was basic white lettering that can be used absolutely anywhere I want. So there you go. So that's transfers on. Now what you're all waiting to see is, what does it look like in real life? There it is, folks. So we now have a loading of limestone on top of that false bed that I showed you earlier. Colours used, very simple. All Humbrol weathering powder, sand, white, and what's the name of this one now? Iron oxide. And all I've done is blended them in to give different tones, etc. Now, this is a heavily weathered version, and if I'm truthful, when I was doing this, I was rushing to get it done, to get a video, to take a picture, to thumbnail out, and when I did that and set it up on its first try, I realised it was a little heavy. So I cleared up around the electric flashes and around the data panel there. I need to put the bigger data panel on here because that one's fell off. That one hasn't. There's a bigger data panel right next to the wheel, if you can see it. Right there. So it fell off one side. I don't know where the hell that's gone, but it doesn't matter, I've got plenty. So I've got to put a bigger data panel on this one, both sides. But yeah, so it was a mixture of get the colours on, get it done. I didn't want to mess about trying to put any colour in the limestone because I'm thinking it would be lifted, chucked in and taken off. So there you go. The only other bit of painting I've done after the event is once I'd put these running numbers on. If you remember, and I'll just choose another one at random. You look at the white panel, it was pretty much just a psh with the brush. And what we did after the event was to go in with a straight edge and paint a nice, neat, straight line and shorten it down to as much as possible. So there you go. All I have to do on this particular wagon, but obviously to all of them, is I'm going to re-drill all these bogies to make sure they're all 2 mil to fit me non-shouldered bearings, and then chuck all the wheels in. But that's it. So that's from a plastic toy looking Triang. Yes, I know it's still plastic, but does it look like the toy Triang wagon? No. Does it look a bit like the limestone wagons? Yes. Is the colour right? That's an argument to be had. But I wanted it looking like it was working hard. So some of them will get heavy, some of them will not, but they are all going to get some form of weathering done. So there you are. I kind of said I would get finished with this in this video, and as far as I'm concerned, I am done. I'm not doing another video on these. I may or may not show you the rake complete in my next video, which I will be making sure comes out on, wait till I work this out folks, Wednesday the 26th. Wednesday the 26th will be the next video. I may show you these as a rake, I may not, depends how I feel. I'm been doing some background work on the next project. I've also been doing that. This was in amongst my box of bits. It's actually two bits because it's the chassis and the box. I cut this off the short chassis because I don't like the short chassis, and I stuck a long chassis on. So that's the colour it's going to stay, and it's going to go with my ICI wagons. So I have some ICI roundels, and if you remember the ICI logo, you'll know it's a roundel. So I'm going to stick an ICI roundel on each side, and then I don't have any guards van stuff, but because it's black, I mean, I've got the flashes, they can go up there. I can figure out what needs to go on here, put it on, and then we're going to fit it out with tail lights top, tail lights centre. I'm going to put the handrails on this part here. I've already cut back. I mean, funnily enough, there is a really well detailed handrail on the inside, but the ones here were just moulded to the plastic. So I've trimmed them off, they'll be wire. And it wants couplings, fitting, magnetics, and then it's going to become part of the mineral wagon, limestone, whatever you want to call it. It's going to become part of them. So my apologies to those who are used to me chucking my video out on a Wednesday. I tried. Oh my God, did I try. But I mean, every now and again when you're uploading to YouTube, it might cause you an issue, so you just accept it. But when it got the 4 times in a row, I thought there's something wrong. Anyway, I'm rabbiting as always. So thank you very much for watching, folks. My subscriber count still keeps climbing nice and steadily. I think I'm 95 away from 1,000, which I didn't ever think I'd get to. But as I've said before, when we get to that 1,000, I do have a gift to give away. Been with me for quite a while. It's sitting in its pristine box. It needs some work, so it's going to get serviced and it's going to get fixed because it doesn't run properly. But it's a nice old wagon. It just, not a wagon, it's a DMU. But it doesn't fit in my time frame, and I can't even repaint it. So it's going to be a giveaway when I hit 1,000. So there will be a video. I don't know when. It'll depend when we're getting closer, or if we get closer to 1,000. Then I'll do a video letting you know this is what there is up for grabs, and then you can see it serviced, you can see it repaired, and you'll see it running as well. So I'm going, that's enough, because I want to use whatever time I've got to get these unfinished ones all labelled up. I know that one is labelled, but you get my point. And then I can have 13 of those followed by one of them, and that's a project ticked off, because I'm determined. He says as he's going to start a new project. I have a box at the side of me here full of half-done projects. I'm going to get this one out of the way that's behind me, because it's quite a This is not me modelling realistic. This is really me taking the mick as this is what I'm doing, this is the reason I want to do it. And then I'm going to get started on all the half finished projects that we've got, which are many. Fish wagons that I've used old box wagons for and repainted. Again, my own badges will go on, new wheels, they've got new couplings I think. Freightliner wagons, Freightliner tank tainers, cargo, the container boxes, there's all sorts in there. But anyway, enough talking. Time to go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. We'll see you again. Bye for now, folks. Bye.